Tell me a little bit about the reoccurring dream that you had during your recovery.
So among the EEG and neurofeedback, one of the things that I also did was I started taking classes on intuition. And I was...
We're so much alike.
I can tell, right?
Oh my God.
Yes. And that was what, I mean, because
I remember reading that.
I was so close to the veil, I really thought there was a way to get back there. So intuition, which led into psychic abilities. And,
clairvoyance.
yes. That's so funny.
Crown chakra.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And then you could see, I mean, I could see the pictures in people's face and they would validate that and we could talk about it and the healings that would occur from just a little validation. Yeah. You know, your mother's in your space and I see your grandmother here and it just started to appear to me on the sides of their body just like these sepiagraphs, like framed pictures. And I would see this person coming in and they would say, yes, this is why and I have a problem with and I could even see deep into historical pictures of past lives and it was so amazing the healing that would come from recognizing how many other energies were in people's space and to be able to eliminate those energies and have that person operate fully with their own energy 100% and the capability of that person that's 100% in is unstoppable, as you know. And
how amazing to bring that healing to others.
Yes, and to myself too. I mean, it was a matching energy.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's just like, it's so fulfilling.
Yes. Yeah. Beautiful. So I would match that energy, and I did that for about 5 years. But then during that process, I was still working in production and then taking the classes and going through the neurofeedback. But the production was because my incredible employees had taken over so much at the time, and I was going through this healing process, I was able to really start to focus on what's my next step. It's not going to be through necessarily filling audiences for television shows or producing segments on washing machines. I mean, it was deeper. It was yearning. It was yearning from within me. And so I kept having this dream. And it was a dream of a beautiful streamline locomotive train. You know, the ones with the round edges, and they were very forward moving and a symbol of our future at the time. And it was, the significance of the dream was that this train was coming from somewhere. And that somewhere was the stream of consciousness, really. And this was a train of consciousness, and it was moving. And I believe that it has been in existence long, long before you and me, of course. This is just a movement that we stepped into. As I would step onto this train, there were audio boards and control boards of it was like a control room, like a television production studio, audio studio. But the even more significant part was who was operating the control boards were these visionary leaders, scientists and new thought leaders, and they were sitting in these high swiveling chairs in a total state of kid-like joy, just laughing and swirling in the chair when you first get into a swivel chair and you want to spin around and have a good time. That's what they were doing. Fun. These brilliant people with total joy, effortlessly and seamlessly operating this train of consciousness.
Wow.
And as it moved forward into, and still moves forward, I would just visit and I would observe the joy, and then I would step off. And I would look at this train, and it had this word, aware, on the outside of it. And it said aware, a division of NHN. And I never knew or paid attention to it. It was just this train. It was so significant. And I kept having the dream and kept having it. And then one morning I woke up in that state of just breathlessness. You know, I had to catch my breath because it was so deep. I was probably just very slow in my breath. And I woke up and I said, "You're supposed to do this." And I don't know why I said that or what I was thinking, but I went into a visualization later that day and I realized, okay, maybe I'm supposed to. If I can't get it to happen on television the way that I want to see it happen, with consciousness and connection and meaning, maybe I need to create it. Maybe I need to write it somehow. And as I started to have that dream and that visualization, things just started to align. You know, a friend called and said there's this radio station that's going out of business and they're looking for drive time programmers, and why don't you just, you know, create a show with your healer friend and your acupuncturist and my teachers and, and incredible people. And that was how the Aware Show started.
That's great.
15 years ago.
You know, and I love, you know, Aware, you know, there's always this mindfulness, but, you know, it kind of like,
goes back
for me,
to
it's overrated. It's overused. So I resonate more with awareness.
Interviewed people over the years, it comes up in almost every interview. No matter what they talk about, that word will come up. It could be around health, it could be around nutrition. They will, you need to be aware of aware.
Do you still have that dream?
No, It's morphed.
Accomplished it
it's
now,
morphed
pretty much.
into such a beautiful dream. Oh, there's a tagline that came along with that dream, but I will always remember this because it's a part of the show that I do, because it's more of a show, it's a movement.
Right.
And at the time it started off as just a show because that was all I knew to do, and I have a long entertainment background, but it's communicating messages that inspire positive growth and change. And that's what this is. It's communicating messages of incredible new thought leaders, scientists, brilliant people, to hold them in the highest platform possible so that people could have their message. Not to feed their message, but here's the message. So you can hear it. And you can attract to it if you want. It can resonate with you if you want. You can just learn it and pass it by if you want. But here's the message. And here it is in its highest order. Take it or not. And that's always been the way that I've loved to present the information, because people can resonate with it more there, and then I add in that kind of intuition of the audience and get to ask the right questions and find out if it's landing for the audience and if it makes sense and if it's helping people and if they can take something away from it. And that's kind of my gift every show, is what can you take away from this information, this content?
I ask the same question to groups that I teach. What can you take away with you? And it's funny because I've heard you say it before, because I've heard you and I've watched you on your show, but it hasn't resonated until this moment. You know, it hasn't made that connection. You know.
Well, you do the same thing. You just want people to grow. And get something from it.
And I feel that doing that seals in the work that you've just done.
Your work is done at that moment.
Your work is done.